Hi guys, my name's Aubrey and I'm going to be going through my work process with you guys today. I picked a few pieces from different areas and mediums that I tend to work in to kind of explain my process through each of them, but all of them allow me time to go back and rework them. Anyway, jumping right into it, one of the things I do is ceramics, and so I'm going to talk about this teapot and tea set that I made. This is the finished glaze version, but we're just going to jump right into how I made it because it was a pretty simple glaze. So this was a coil and pinch pot project. So the base of my feet are pinch pots, which I made by hand by pinching the clay and thinning it out with water and the pressure of my fingers. And the rest are tiny coils that I roll up, made out of clay that I line and then smooth out over time, which is the bulk of the trunk and the head and the body. As you can see, I picked this elephant anatomy because I thought it complemented our coil application that we were having to do. Some of the coils are still a little bit apparent, but it just looks like part of the elephant's anatomy, and I started adding more coils to build up some of our spine, added a few more to flesh out the ribs, and then as you can see in the background, like over here, I did add some exposed coils to add some details to the trunk. All in all, basically, these were pinched, but this was completely coil built, very thin, and then I bent it in a leather hard phase. These cups, the rims, the reason they're uneven, they're comfortable enough to drink out of, but they actually support this elephant body, as you can see here. They hold this body and have little slits cut out of them, which I did use some like carving tools to cut those out and cut this hole out on top. But most of this was just very small application of clay over time in order to build these forms up, which I did over multiple sessions, which allowed me to tweak different parts of the anatomy and make it look like I wanted. And then circling back around to this final version here, I'm really proud of him. He was glazed in Pat's Clear Blue, which is a very it's not an opaque glaze really, so some of the clay body is still shining through, and then I used some iron oxide to darken the eyes and the inside of this trunk and the inside of the pot here. Moving right along, we're going into some figure drawing now. This is also obviously a multi-session process. Our class is set up to where we spent 3 weeks on this with 2 classes a week, 6 hours. So this project, with this being our final result here, is about 18 hours of work, but I'm going to go into our multiple from this to this. You can tell that her chest has shifted and her plane has shifted a little bit. She was almost right in front of me, but little minute changes led to these changes along the way that I had to adjust to. This is over halfway done. This is at the end of our second session, and I have now completed all of the midtones. Some of these are actually acting as the highlights in our shadow forms, and so these areas are actually not going to get any lighter, but I need to definitely go back and darken, and I am going to add more highlights. This is the beginning photo again, showing our end result here. I went and added some fine details in our last session to make some of these areas pop, and then I rounded out these forms and added some crisp highlights, as well as I paid attention to her tan lines and added some minute highlight and shadow differences here to bring out the natural variations in her complexion that weren't actually changing and turning a form. And so all in all, I went back and tweaked this over 3 different sessions, and was quite proud of the final result. And finally, we're going to talk about my painting, which is the most free form of anything I do. This is not complete, but it was complete enough for me to take a pause and let things dry. So I start out with a reference, usually, especially when I'm working with anatomy with a figure, because I want to make sure that everything's going right. And for this particular one, I'm pulling my nose because I fidget, and so I wanted to show that in like a really up-close painting. So I wanted to get the anatomy right and the structural parts of this nose pretty fleshed out. Overall, I work pretty quickly, and all of these tools and tricks I use along the way help my process go very smoothly. Thank you guys. Yeah, thanks.